main pond doing well. So it's been 2 weeks since the PP treatment, and temperature is 19.5 today, and they've still got some marks on them, but I'm quietly confident now they are happy enough, and now it's a case of keeping on top of keeping them recovering. And that'll be the hardest thing now, because the temperatures are still not great. It's still only 19.5 degrees and it's the end of July. So before we know it, we're going to be into August, September, and the immune systems, you know, really kick in to about 18 degrees. So it's going to be tricky to get them recovered. So I might have to take some of them into the indoor pond, which I'm going to now. In complete contrast to the outdoor pond, the indoor pond at 24.2, absolute doing great. This one's about the same, but that one's got a bit more consistency. It's topped up, as you know, by the air source heat pump. So what I wanted to do today is, on the last video I put this in, but it was only in for about half an hour while I was in, and I noticed if you look to the side you can see some finds that the Sculpted layers filter has collected. So I'm going to carefully put that in there. You can just see it at the side there, look. Carefully put that in there so I don't dislodge the brushes too much. Leave that in now, and it's 10 to 4 on the 27th, Saturday 27th. So leave that in there now and see what it collects. Now, I think I said in my last video, it's not really about the water clarity for me, because it's pretty damn good, as you can see. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So we'll come back to that and see how it's going with the moving bed. Doing well. And that's there's 18 litres of micro K1 that was in the Eazypod, is now in here, and then there is 20 litres of the biopads, Awar's biopads, and then there's a couple of kilo of zeolite which I've had a long time ago, so that's in there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do some water tests. I tested KH yesterday and it was at 1.5. So I'm going to do a full water test today in here and see what I'm dealing with. The Aqua spray bar is doing marvellous as well. Really impressed with that so far. It's been, I think, is it a month now since I got it from the BKKS show? But it's been doing great. Kintama Gold is doing great in there, so it's giving that diversity of biological bacteria. Got some watering to do on some of the plants, and there's that koi with a split. It's healing, starting to heal nicely on this side. And what I'm going to do soon, I'm on holiday next week, going to Tenerife, so I'm away, so I won't do it then, but when I get back I've got to start thinking about this 2,000 litre pond and getting the koi that are now recovered, i.e. the two that are fully recovered is the Shintari Sankey, that one, and the Tancho Showa, and those two have got to be taken out of there. Now I'll acclimatise them and get them in an outside pond, because I've not got no room in here. And then I'm going to have to take a couple that had problems as a result from the Costia and parasites, take them out of there to get their skin and their bodies recovering in here, because I don't think they're going to have time to recover in there and get to you know, because they have a core immune system and things like that, and you can't keep taking them out and putting topical treatment on them. You need the immune system to kick in, and you need them to recover in the water. So they will come in here and then they'll stay in here as long as possible. So these two were looking a bit of a mess, and that one was, and they look to me now fully recovered. There's no splits, fins, skin. The actual bulging scales on the side, which are cleaned out and removed, are completely fully recovered. That one has got no red scales on its side or anything now, so like I say, fully recovered. This one's close. I'm not going to touch this one because I don't want to get it in the net and split that fin, even, you know, split that fin and get it back to ground zero again. This one, this Kimatsuba, is not far off. Look, you see that mark on its head there and that mess on its head? Its scales are just halfway growing in now on most areas, so hopefully another month or two and it might be about recovered. And if I can, I'll get that back in the main pond for autumn and back through winter again. But I won't if there's any sign on its head that it's not fully recovered and its body is not fully encapsulated with scales and slime. I'm not going to take the risk and put it back in the pond, because then that's when you're at risk of, you know, bacteria and stuff getting hold of it, and then you're getting problems again with fungus and stuff on the skin. And then if that gets into the scale and under the scale, you're into problems, which is very difficult to get them recovered. But that's not far off. That is so much better. It took me ages in that pond, more than a year, and until I've had it in here the last 2 months. So it's took in here 2 months at 0.5 degrees salt, 0.5% salt. It won't be that now, it'll probably only be about 0.3, 0.4 in here now, but that, it was at 0.5 at first for a good month, and then at 24 degrees. This has been 24 degrees since May in here, so we're almost into August. Beautiful, doing really well. So water test, here we come. So water tests are in. 0.18 on the Anna checker. That's low rate, by the way, not ppm. Ammonia looking good. Whiff of nitrite. Nitrite is about 0.5, I'd say. So that's done now. I don't think that's going to change much more. The yellow on that is pretty good. So the ammonia, oops, hang on. So I'm in the yellow there. I'll give that's had 5 minutes so far, so needs another 5 minutes. So yeah, happy enough. Nitrite on the API kit is, there's the colours, and you have really aqua blue, as you can see there. It's not quite the same aqua blue, it is a little bit going into that blue into the second reading there, so it's probably about on par with this one actually, which is good in a way, because this is picking up obviously now a bit of nitrite there. Look, you can see it changing into that next one a bit, but it's still quite aqua blue, so I'm not really worried about that, because it's on the maximum food at the minute. So obviously it's progressing to a maximum that it will be. So yeah, just keep it food going in, as long as the ammonia is in check, the nitrite is not too high, I can keep that in check. I don't seem to suffer, the koi don't seem to suffer any issues if I'm roundabout in this first digit range. I wouldn't like to be in these ranges here, then I would be doing water changes, but getting a sniff, I'm not worried at that. So yeah, the ammonia 0.18, so that would be 1.2 times 0.18 times 1.214, so we're looking about 0.2 again. That's pretty much what I get as a standard. Just seems to be around about that mark. I think it was 1.16 last a couple of weeks ago. So pH is 7.6, temperature is 23.6, let's say 24, 7.6, 0.18. You know, I'm not saying this is what you do all the time, but it's still not toxic. At that level, the ammonia is not toxic to the koi. So, all good. What can I say? Happy days. That's turning over every 2 hours through the moving bed. I don't think I need any more media in there now. Not with the Kintama Gold as well. I think there's 25 kilo of Kintama Gold, 20 litres of Oasis Bio pads, and 18 litres of Micro K1. So that should be enough. When it's fully mature and grows with the pond, that's what I will state in this one. I know I've stated it many times. You are more or less, if you're feeding and your aim is to feed, grow koi with the temperature and get the body on them, you are going to get sniffs of especially nitrite, I would say, and possibly ammonia as well, because it's constantly going through that cycle. And as you're pushing it with the media growing in tandem. So ideally, if that's your media starting off at the start of the season and you're not feeding yet, and there's your food level because you're just putting a few bits in, you're kind of at the same level. You're at the same level. Now, if you up your feeding but you don't give a chance for your bacteria to grow, then you're pushing in food, and then that's converting it, the actual media, the waste that's going into the pond is converting to ammonia, but actually you're not giving it a chance for the bacteria to grow in tandem with the feed. So what you want, as you're feeding, you want your biological to grow along with it. So when you got the maximum food level, you might be there in August, you want to have the maximum amount of beneficial bacteria on the surface of your media. And if you don't do it in sync progressively and allow it to grow, then you're going to always have, you might have higher than, you know, low levels. Low levels to me are a sign, especially with nitrite. I've found that it is turning over, the system is. And like I say, that's only if you're pushing it. You imagine if I wasn't feeding this much, just a couple of feeds a day, then this would be absolutely pure, because the biological media doesn't need to grow, and it can't grow all the way on the surface of the media because there's no food source for it. Because if I'm feeding here, for example, the meat, so there's a misconception that you can just buy a bottle, a pom bomb, throw it in, and then that's it, you've got all your media's colonized. Well, that's not true, because that pom bomb will go in, there's your biological media, you might have an explosion of it, that might chew up all the waste and what's in the system, consume the ammonia, convert to nitrite, then nitrite to nitrate, and go through the cycle. But as soon as that food source has gone, what's going to happen to that bacteria? It'll die off. So then your bacteria will die back down to your natural level. And then you think, great, fantastic, it's brilliant, got no ammonia and nitrite. So what do people do? They bang the food in. And then you've knocked it out of sync with your biological media. You've got to allow it to grow together. Okay, and then if you like, it'll tail off on the other side. Once you've reached your max in August, September, you're going to tail off, aren't you, going into autumn and winter, and then your biological bacteria will die off with your food ratio, but you've got to do it steady. So that's why I think people go up and down, because they put some biological media in there. They think, fantastic, I'm done now, nitrite, all the readings go back down, and then they start feeding again and they go at it too much, and then they're getting these spikes. Got to do it nice and even keel, but you can't stop, because if you stop, change loads of water, upset the balance, introduce chemicals like metals and chlorine into the pond, you're in problems there. You're maybe dropping the water temperature as well, so you're stressing the koi, and you're just going around in this nightmare. You've got to go it steady, especially in the early stages. This is still only my second season with this pond, so next year hopefully this will go down to about 12 degrees C. There's going to be a constant, you know, of sake Ikori balance going in, so they'll keep, you know, that maintained, and there'll be a good lot of biological media ready to then explode again in spring and get off like I've done this year. It's been great this year. This time last year was a nightmare, because with only 18 litres of K1 in there, oh my god, my nitrite was constantly 0.5 and above. Just the ammonia I was getting constant ammonia. It was just a nightmare. But you've got to watch the fish as well. So even though there's a sniff of nitrite in there, they're behaving absolutely normally. They're having no problems, no flashing, nothing. They're happy. Right. So, to conclude this video in a bit, that's the water test done. To conclude this video later, it will be cut, and we'll see tonight. I'll come back and I'll see what the water levels are like in here. It's about 1/4 inch below the overflow lip there. The water you can see up to the side there. Plenty of water inside, no restrictions at the moment. Let's see what that does. Sunday the 28th of July, and it's absolutely gorgeous morning. Beautiful. And it's the morning after the Sculpted layers mesh filter being in. And the fish are looking good, so let's have a little peek what is occurring. So this went in 4 o'clock Saturday, and it's now 9:15. Check my koi cracks. It's now Sunday the 28th at 9:15. So it's the day after. So 4 o'clock today, and this world would have had 24 hours. You see the muck on the outside, because I cleaned this filter out yesterday, because I thought, well, the only fair way to test it would be when the filter's been cleaned. So you can see it looks like a line anyway, where the fines are, debris, you can just see it. Now what I don't want to do is pull that up and dislodge anything. That's the only thing I've noticed so far with this, is I'd be interested how people are tackling that, because of the frequency of cleaning, it's not going to coincide with your weekly clean. It won't coincide with my weekly clean, so it'll be interesting. I wonder if it will stick to the mesh. Well, let's have a look, shall we? So let me take my time with this and see if when I pull this up, is there a lot left. Yeah, there's a bit. There's quite a few fines. So with that, I will probably then just slap that in. Just for a few, probably being a bit anal there, but yeah, look at that. That's impressive. That's on 20 grade mesh. I'll get some in the shade. You can see how it went in, and you can see what it's collected. So it looks mainly like algae, maybe algae, sort of microscopic algae particles out of the water that makes your water green, and that's probably what the actual UV is making clump. So no, this UV is off at the moment, so it's not that, because the UV is off. But it looks like suspended algae particles anyway by the looks of it, but who knows. But looking at that, pretty good. So I think if I'd have left that, I reckon that would have made up to 4 o'clock today. In fact, I thought about that, didn't I? I can put that, oh there we go, that's what I'll do in the future. So what I will do, I've just sorted out my routine. There's the actual coffee cup, so when that's totally clean there won't be a problem. Well, there might be for me, because I might have a couple of brushes sticking through, so it might dislodge, you know, the brushes. But if I do that again, look, if I were to do that roughly, you can see it pulls off quite a bit of muck, quite a lot of suspended particles, and that'll put it back into the water column. So what I've got there, that now will pull it into that coffee filter, and I'll show you that in a minute. So there's a bit of a second barrier, which I won't be able to keep that in, but while I'm messing with it, I can actually drop that in and out the centre. So that's good. Yeah, that's good. So I can literally, my routine will be when I'm cleaning that, put the coffee jobby in the centre with my little handle that I've siliconed on, and pull that in and out just for 5 minutes while it's collecting those few bits of particles which aren't going back into the pond or into my moving bed while I'm messing about with the filter. Happy days. So yeah, I'm happy with that, but I reckon, in fact, what I would do, I can just see a few, give that a few more minutes. You can see the water just starting to be dragged through now, so the water level has gone down a little bit more, probably from last night, maybe a 1/4 of an inch. You can see the line inside, look, you can see the line, because it's about, the darker line is higher than the water level, so it's probably a 1/4 of an inch so far. But if you were to leave that, that will go all the way down and empty that middle part all the way down to your pipe, and you'll see it sucking in water and air, and your pump starves your pump. And at that point this should be getting higher and overflowing down here, so it can't starve it, so it kind of recircles air then round here. So I'm going to remove that because it feels a little bit heavy already, that does, believe it or not. You won't believe it. But there you go, look at that. That is the muck. Look at that lot, the fines that this has caught. So I'll hose that out in a minute, and I'll leave that now because it's Sunday and I'm in all day, so I'll keep popping down every few hours and I will see how that goes. But so far so good. What would be interesting if I leave it until it starts overflowing, to the point of it overflowing. So we will see.